In this video I'm just going to demonstrate using the touchscreen display, the new optional touchscreen display with the 4xCCU controller to control the SmartScope Duo, the Videohub. It can be any Videohub and it can be any ATEM. So here I'm just using an ATEM 2ME. It's got 6 aux buses. I'll be showing you how we're going to be controlling the aux bus sources and destinations, and I'm going to be showing you how we can control a Videohub. Now, control of the aux buses and the Videohub are an added feature that you can do with the CCU controller. So apart from just doing CCU control and using the 4 push buttons to select what sources you want to preview while you're doing CCU, the actual aux bus and Videohub control is a totally separate function that you can actually use as a saves you having to have yet another box plugged in that does that control. And of course, just controlling the different settings of the smart scopes is quite handy when you're changing your setups around as necessary. So first of all, we're going to start off with we're going to setup mode. And when we're in setup mode, these are the selections. We can select the Videohub control, we can select ATEM aux bus control, and we can select SmartScope control. So we're just going to start off with the SmartScope. Now here on the top you have the ability to be able to select which monitor you want. You can either have the A or the B monitor, and as you select them it comes up and shows you what the current settings are on those two selections of A and B. So first of all we're going to be on the we're going to try the A monitor. The A monitor, we have color bars up there at the moment, and it's in picture mode. So I can actually change the mode down by selecting, just by touching the selection, and it steps through the individual or the available display formats. And as you can see, if I come back here, if I can come back far enough, you can see them changing. There's picture, vectors, vector 75, parade RGB, YUV, histogram, audio Dbfs, and when you're in the audio modes, you have the ability to be able to select which channel the phase meter is displaying. So if you have a look up here at the moment, you can see audio on audio 1, we've got left and right, or 1 and 2, and you can see that it's displaying that on the phase meter. If I change the audios to 3 and 4, or if I, let's say 3 and 4, go back, you'll see there's nothing showing here because there's nothing on 3 and 4. So subsequently you can use the left side to change it down, so we can keep changing it down. Let me see if I can do this so you can see what's happening. So that's stepping down. If you touch it on this side, that's stepping up. So let's just put that on 1 and 2. And the same thing applies with the display type. So let's put it back to picture, and there it is up there on the picture. Now down underneath all that you have 3 sliders, which is for brightness, contrast and saturation, as displayed with these sliders. Now on the right hand side there is the actual numerical value of the slider. So center position or default is 0. The very left hand side is -50, the very right hand side is +50. So if you wanted to just increase the brightness, you can just slide it up, and again using your finger you can use your finger and just slide it down, but you can't see what I'm doing because the big finger's in the way. And so you can actually adjust the monitor accordingly. As I'm sliding it here, you probably can't see too much of a change because the camera's actually that I'm shooting this with is actually auto exposing and trying to make it trying to change my adjustments. But as you can see here, we're changing all these settings, and what happens is that if you touch the right hand numerical values, it puts it back to default, which should be 0. So that's back to default. That's back to default, and the chroma, that's the chroma, it's back to default, wasn't far off anyhow. And if you touch the left hand side, it sets them to 0, So that's minimum brightness, and that's what happens when you go to minimum brightness. So I can touch the right hand side over here, and then it'll put it back to default, which is there. The same with the contrast. I can set it to minimum, put it back to default, or I can crank it all the way up. That's cranked all the way up, bring it back to default. And of course chroma or saturation is what will be the most obvious. So as I'm winding the saturation down, the camera can't stop that from happening, so you actually see it's doing it nice and smoothly until you get to the very end, the very left hand side. So we've got no saturation. You can see it's sitting at -50, which is the maximum negative value, and subsequently we get monochrome. Now if I now touch the numerical value, it will swing that back to default, and as you can see there, it's up there. If I touch it on the left hand side, it goes to monochrome. If it go back to default, and then if I pull it all the way clockwise, you can see now it's on maximum, and we can just go back to default. I mean, you can also just touch it in the slider position somewhere as well. So we just go back to default there. So that's basically the 3 slider controls. Now we can go over to the B monitor now, which is this monitor over here, and I can change the settings to whatever we want them to be. And as you can see, it shows you the value down here, and just go forward or backwards. Anyhow, so we put that back on the picture. There it is, back on picture there. And again, we can control the sliders to suit as I just showed you a moment ago with the A side. Anyhow, so we can come out of the SmartScope, and we can now go and pick on the ATEM aux control, and here I'm controlling, I can select any one of the 6 aux buses there, and I can actually have, at any one time, I can actually have 2 separate aux buses up on here. So you can see currently I've got selected ATEM aux number 2 and ATEM aux number 4, but I can actually select any aux bus I want just by hitting the arrows up the top here. So that's aux 1. You can see up here I can select any aux up here, aux 6. So let's just put this to aux 1, say. There's aux 1, there's aux 1 there, and I can then use the bottom arrows to select sources. Now this is currently in what we call hot mode, so that as you select a source, I'll see if I can go back here so you can see it. As I select a source, it changes the source immediately, and the source that I change will show you up on here. So that currently says that particular button has allocated camera 9. Now these names that come out of the ATEM, so whenever you change the name on the ATEM, that'll reflect up on the screen up here as well. And you can see here aux 4. If I just go up here to aux 4, I can then you can see that says color bars, and that's on color bars up there. So I can do hot switching here. You see that's it, hot switching down there. Now the other choice, of course, is you can do what we call take mode. So just by pressing the button up here, so we go switch from hot, and we go to take mode. You notice now that the actual arrows turn blue rather than red. Red means hot, take is cool. So basically what you can do in this situation, I'm on aux 4 at the moment here, so I'll just go down to the bottom one as aux 4. You can see I can actually do this without hiding it. I'm actually changing the source, but it's not actually changing up in here. So if I come back here, and you can see the source is changing, but it's not actually changing up on the aux. Now it won't change until you actually hit the hot take, or the take. And the take is, if you just press anywhere in that area there for the second one and up there for the first one. So if I want to now take or switch to that source, I can just do that, and then I can just touch it anywhere. Let's come back here so you can see. Touch it anywhere there, and there it is, it's done the take. So that gives you the ability to be able to pre-select what you want to cut to, and it'll then cut to it once you hit the take, and that gives you the ability to avoid switching through unwanted inputs in the hot mode. And as I say, you can just press the hot or take button, and it'll toggle between the two, and the colour of the arrows will change accordingly. Now the other thing you can do here also is that even if you're in hot or take mode, you can actually press and hold the button, and it'll actually switch through. And you can actually see pressing and holding here will actually switch through fast, so you don't have to be pushing it one button at a time. So if you hold it on for more than 1 second, it'll then step up, and then of course you can then do the take. Now the other thing that I wanted to show you, we'll come out of here, we'll go into the aux bus control now, and here is, sorry, not the aux bus, the Videohub control. Now the Videohub controls the same. You can control any 2 aux buses at the same time, and it also has the hot take or the hot or the take mode. So we're here in hot mode at the moment. I've got the this is actually sitting on SmartScope, which is this one over here at the moment. So I'm just going to select that over here. There it is, there it's up there, SmartScope left, and I can then switch through. Obviously at the end, come over here. So this is just switching through. I'll come back here so you can see it. It's a long way back. So that's it, switching hot. So every time I change the source, it will switch it automatically. And now if I now go over to take mode, there's take mode here. Again, I can pre-select and then hot switch. You know, it's when it goes red momentarily when it does a hot switch. I'll come back here and show you the same thing. So let's just go back and just change this to something. So there's, I've just told it to change the input. Now it hasn't changed anything up here until I actually hit the take, and there it is there. And the same thing applies with let me just go over to here, source. So let's just go back over to hot mode. And see that's now changing the right SmartScope. I'll come back here. I don't know if I can come back far enough for that one. So that's as easy as changing there you go, it's just changing the right, this one over here, and the top display here is just changing the left. So that's basically the operation of those 3 devices. And again, they all independent of what selections you have in respect to routing your CCU control through here. I hope that made sense. Shortly I'll be actually doing a video on the setup modes, which I've done in other videos using the terminal screen, but you can do it all on the touch screen as well. So talk to you then.